Chapter 47, General Wilkinson's Fleet. General James Wilkinson's fleet of 300 boats bound down the St. Lawrence River on November 6, 1813, anchored 3 miles above Ogdensburgh to prepare for its inevitable encounter with the guns of Fort Wellington at Prescott on the Canadian shore. General Wilkinson issued the following proclamation to the Canadians. The Army of the United States, which I have the honor to command, invades these provinces to conquer and not to destroy, to subdue the forces of His Britannic Majesty, not to war against his unoffending subjects. Those, therefore, among you who remain quiet at home, should victory incline to the American standard, shall be protected in their persons and property. But those who are found in arms must necessarily be treated as avowed enemies. To menace is unjust, to seduce dishonorable, yet it is just and humane to place these alternatives before you. Done at the headquarters of the United States Army this 6th day of November, 1813, near Ogdensburgh on the river St. Lawrence, James Wilkinson, by the General's command, N. Pinckney, Major and Aide-de-camp. That night, powder and ammunition were placed in carts, and all the men not needed to navigate the boats marched to a bay 2 miles below Ogdensburgh. The boats started downriver in a fog, which, however, lifted suddenly. Accordingly, the boats waited until the setting of the moon. Fort Wellington fired on the boats for 3 hours, but only 2 men were killed and 3 wounded. Passing Prescott, 2 boats carrying provisions and ordnance became grounded. The Americans got them off, but it took half a day as the British maintained a cannonade. On November 11th, British and Canadian troops, about 800 in number, engaged 4,000 Americans in the Battle of Crysler's Farm. Historic Ontario, Old Upper Canada, published by Canada's Department of Travel and Publicity, said of this battle, about 6 miles east of Morrisburg is the site of one of the decisive battles of the War of 1812. A large American army commanded by Major General James Wilkinson was moving down the St. Lawrence with the intention of joining another United States force which was invading Lower Canada. They intended to attack Montreal. Wilkinson's army was followed by a smaller British and Canadian contingent commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Morrison. The American commander detached Brigadier General John Boyd to deal with Morrison's force. The opposing armies met at Crysler's Farm November 11, 1813, and after a fierce struggle, the Americans were repulsed. This action, combined with the defeat of United States forces at Chateauguay in Lower Canada, saved Montreal. The battlefield is now largely under the waters of the lake, formed by the gigantic new St. Lawrence Seaway Dam. The monument commemorating the battle has been moved about a mile to the north of the original site. Lieutenant Colonel MacDonell wrote that he himself, by his own voluntary zeal and professional skill, won another victory in Canada, even 10 times more valuable than that of Ogdensburgh, namely that of Chateauguay, on which hung indisputably the immediate safety of all British America. He, without the assistance of one single regular officer, non-commissioned officer, or soldier, without even one British-born subject under his command, with nothing, in fact, but 600 French-Canadian militia, contrived to defeat 7,000 American troops, and thus broke up the intended grand junction of General Wilkinson's army with the force of General Hampton at Chateauguay. Ogdensburgh in its early days had a Wilkinson Street, which was renamed Elizabeth Street many years ago. General Wilkinson died in 1825, aged 68.